and gentlemen, my name is Noui and I will be telling you a story about how my stepdad is a pet.
In 2005, my mother married a South African man. He then became my adoptive slash stepdad. I usually refer to him as my stepdad. I was brought over from Thailand mid 2004 and given a new identity, going from Kavintip Karana to Nui. I don't mention my South African surname due to personal reasons, but it does exist. I grew up in a household where I was isolated from everyone in the same house and neglected emotionally and sometimes even physically, where I was left alone. And when they would go out and come back, they would show me pictures of all the fun they had without me. And then at a young age, I started to accept that I am not part of this family unit and carried on as a separate entity in a house full of people. Not only was I neglected as a child, I was also physically handled by both parents. From hair grabbing, having household items such as TV remotes and phones thrown at you just for speaking, being silenced for talking about your day at school, and publicly humiliated in front of friends and family. The physical abuse I could handle. I'm tough like that. But there was something much more sinister than a slap across the face. My stepdad is a pedophile. There have been many traumatic events told to me by friends and family members that he has either attempted to molest them or have. His type ranges from preschool to late teenagehood. He has molested in the past and has made sure to always have some type of access to little girls. He would dupe them into visiting him by offering treats and gifts and even taking them out and then going around saying that he has this gift from God and that children are attracted to his pure soul. He would also accuse me and my sister of being jealous when the little girls were around. When we were not, we were just horrified. That's what we were. You make sure to pick them from unfortunate backgrounds and you create a delusion of care and safety and you groom them. You've done it with my friends in the past and my little sister's friends. And when I was told the first time by a friend, I was around 11, 12, and she told me that she was uncomfortable around you. I didn't understand back then. But afterwards, in early teenagehood and just understanding how the world works, I'm like, this man likes little girls. I sat with that for a few years because I was still in the same house as that man. To my knowledge and remembrance, he has never assaulted me in any sexual manner, and if he did, I will deal with him whatever legal or non-legal way I see fit. But he did get touchy, and the physical and psychological abuse was still very present. Anytime I expressed any dislike for my stepdad, my mother would call me ungrateful, spoiled, and horrible, and even would beat me at times. She would degrade me till kingdom come, even if I sat wrong, if I laughed too loud, if I made eye contact with anyone, and even if I smiled too wide. I was told growing up I was a difficult, horrible, bothersome, and loud and disobedient child, and that I would be sent back to Thailand as a normal threat. Having safety and stability hung over my head like a sword. I became very cut off with everyone in the house, but I was still a very cheery thing growing up. But inside, I was just dying. At the age of 16, I had my first attempt. And before that, I got high off painkillers because that's what I learned from my mother. Because if you can't control the environment around you and you're a punching bag, you pop pills. That attempt was a result of my mother finding private photos of mine that I sent my boyfriend at the time, told my stepdad, and most probably showed him as well because he commented on how he was disappointed that some K word, because my boyfriend was black at the time, he's also racist name, saw my best before he did. So my mother informed her husband of the situation and he nearly killed me. He nearly killed me by choking me. My mother just stood there watching. And then for the first time, I understood on a deeper level that this woman does not care about me at all. He then let go of me and then I took a handful of painkillers that night. I survived, obviously. I ran away 3 times between the years of 2017 and 2019. Once each year. The first attempt Oh, the first time was in December of 2017, was the same year as attempt one. I jumped out of a second story window, phone in hand, and jumped over the wall and ran. I called my pastor at the time and they picked me up. I remember hiding in the long grass in Tabazimbi during the pouring rain, praying that my pastor found me before my parents. They let me stay with them for a bit, my pastor and them. My stepdad got a hold of him, spun some story that I was being a teenager and lashing out, and I was returned back to him and my mother after Christmas that year. The physical and mental abuse carried on. At the end of 2018, it happened again. Our stepbrother stayed with us at the time, and there was a lot of tension between him and my stepdad, which was his biological dad. Physical altercations occurred, resulting in my stepbrother's best friend losing his hearing at the time due to physical assault by my stepdad. My stepbrother and his friend left, leaving my half sister and I to reevaluate the seriousness of the matter. She and I decided to leave. After a heated conversation with my stepdad, my sister and I waited for everyone to sleep. We left through a door in my room, which was an expansion of the house at the time and was also considered a granny flat. We jumped the wall and ran in the rain again to the nearest garage and calling our brother to come fetch us before our parents realized we were gone. We were 15 and 17 at the time. I remember being picked up and then I was in a bed having a Musha panic attack. And I just remember this is the second time I had to run away from this man in an exact year. Later on, some negotiations were made between my stepdad and stepbrother and foster brother. Our foster brother was a dude who lived with us during his late teens and early 20s and became family, agreed to house us for a bit during the whole situation. We were returned to our parents just after Christmas, and I was blamed for turning my sister against them when in reality she gave us the go to leave. They still blamed me. The abuse carried on. The third and last ultimate time we ran away was the time we all lived in the same house and the whole dynamic finally flipped. A few months after December, let's say around early March, we were building a case against our stepdad. We were going to talk about all the abuse, and we had a vital point of having a victim coming forward of his molestation in the past. Somehow, during the accumulation of the evidence for the case, a few things fell through. Statements were being pulled and things were just shaky. But ultimately, we left and we were put in the legal care of our stepbrother. This was my matric year. From 2019 to 2023, I had a few other things that stemmed from the situation, but I won't touch too much on that, not yet anyway. Before we left for the last time, my stepdad became more unstable mentally and he was more aggressive. Alongside looking for sympathy by packing his suitcase and threatening to leave, I attempted to hold my giggles in. He has also faked several heart attacks after verbal arguments with me, claiming I gave him a heart attack because it was so heated when we argued I worked up his heart rate. And I was forced to apologize and kiss him while he was playing patient. The man was lying. He was lying. I too attempted to hold my giggles in at that time. He's a lying narcissist that could sell ice to an Eskimo. He's a charming bastard that smiles while sizing up your children. He also has had various affairs with women while being married to his first wife and my mother. He has had affairs with grown women and attempts to spin the story that he's helping them or giving them work. Every time my mother would confront him, he would beat and threaten her. So she complained in silence to her children, expecting her babies to fix the marriage. While occupied with these affairs, he still attempted to molest several young girls. Our mother has always blamed the girls, never him. Still to this day, she has also started seeing me as her competition. She treated me with more harshness during my teenage years due to internalized jealousy. She was well aware of what type of man she married, and she decided to monitor me for his actions. Please stay tuned for part 2 because this is getting a bit